Alright, ya magnificent bastards. When people talk about scary zombie outbreaks, they think of The Last of Us, World War Z, and all that usual shit. But the zombies you should actually be afraid of are the Necromorphs. So in a truly catastrophic lapse in my judgment, I've decided to throw the Necromorph straight into the 40k galaxy and see what happens. Yes, that 40k galaxy. I haven't slept in days, my brain is running on caffeine and bad ideas, and I'm fairly sure this video came to me in a hallucination. And if you're looking for someone to blame for this specific brand of heresy, blame the rogue trader William. He suggested this months ago, and now you're all going to suffer for it. So without further ado, let's dive in. Right, before I unleash the space undead, let's remind ourselves what kind of hellhole we're about to throw the infected into. This is a galaxy where reality itself breaks and demons crawl out of it, where aliens don't just want to kill you, they want to wear you, where ancient skeleton emperors collect skulls like it's DACA, fungal hooligans reproduce via violence, and walking cathedrals of war step over mountains like they're potholes. Humanity rules through faith, fear, and bureaucracy so bloody dense it could suffocate God. Every planet is a battlefield, every sunrise another war. And if you blink wrong, an Inquisitor deletes your entire bloody postcode. There is no peace, there is no hope, there is only war, steel, fire, and hatred. And even then, that's usually not even enough. This is the Warhammer 40k galaxy. And this is what I'm throwing the Necromorphs into. The most violent, overarmed, hostile setting to ever be written. Force-fed one of the most horrifying infections in sci-fi history. The only real question is, do the Necromorphs adapt, or does the galaxy simply eat them alive? But for now, let's talk about the Necromorphs. First off, have you ever wondered why Dead Space is called Dead Space? Well, I'm about to tell you why, because this is where things stop being space zombies and start being a cosmic avatar with a business plan. The Necromorphs aren't a species. They're not undead. They're not alive in any meaningful way. They are reanimated biomass, flesh that has been stripped of identity, purpose, and biology, then repurposed into a weapon. Think of every corpse in the galaxy standing up, doing a little stretch, and deciding your internal organs are now a communal resource. That's the Necromorph. And the thing pulling the strings, the markers. Now here's where Dead Space goes from scary to, oh for fuck's sakes. The markers aren't alive. They're not demons. They're closer to a cosmic AI program, built with one singular objective: convergence. Now, at the dawn of life, right back at the cosmic starting line, something else came into existence alongside it. The Brethren Moons. These things are moon-sized masses of reanimated flesh built from entire dead civilizations, with a collective intelligence so utterly alien it might as well be a god. And to be clear, they consider themselves as gods. Hungry gods. They exist to do two things: reproduce and consume. And the markers, well, they're the delivery system. First off, a black marker gets flinged into the galaxy and lands on or near a life-bearing world. Sometimes it even helps life develop. Sometimes it nudges evolution along. Hell, In the Dead Space timeline, one wiped out the dinosaurs and delayed humanity just long enough to make us ripe later on. Once a species gets clever enough, space travel, energy crisis, the usual mistakes, they find the marker. Then the first signal activates. Congratulations! You've just discovered infinite energy! Your civilization rejoices. You build around it. You worship it. You study it. Then you do exactly what the marker wants. You build more of them. Red markers. Spread across your entire empire. And then the second signal hits. This one doesn't power cities. It shreds minds. Hallucinogens. Psychosis. Obsession. Suicide. Murder. Only the strongest wills even partially resist it, and even they aren't completely safe. People start dying, and then the real work begins. Alongside the signal comes a microscopic infection, a resuscitation agent that rewrites biology at a molecular level. When something dies under marker influence, their body doesn't rot. It gets repurposed. Vital organs stripped away. The brain gone. The lungs pointless. What's left is the bone, the muscle, and a sharpened intent. This is why you don't shoot a necromorph in the head. It doesn't have one. Shoot it in the chest. It doesn't care. There's nothing inside worth protecting. It's a puppet, and the marker is pulling every string. Slashers, lurkers, leapers, brutes, guardians, dividers. Every form is just a different solution to the same problem. Kill faster, spread further, harvest more biomass. Every death feeds the system. Every corpse is raw material. And when a planet has been sufficiently processed, the third and final signal activates. Convergence. Every necromorph drags as much flesh as it can, dead, living, screaming, decomposing, towards a central point. Billions of bodies fused together, reshaped, layered, and compressed into something new. A brethren moon. An entire civilization rendered down into a single, sentient, starving god. And once a brethren moon is born, it doesn't need the markers anymore. It is an infection. It moves on, finds other galaxies, other planets, throws out more markers, and starts the whole process over again. This is why the name of the game, Dead Space, is really a more right-on-the-nose comment. Because the galaxy in Dead Space is literally dead space. Because the Brethren Moon ate everything living, that's why there are no other species or aliens for humans to contact. And there's nothing but barren worlds. This isn't an invasion, this is an industrial execution. And now, we're throwing this system into the 40k galaxy. A place where there's more bodies than sanity, more war than reason, and more dead flesh than any sane universe should have. Which begs the question, is 40k about to become the Necromorphs' greatest harvest? Or their first real problem? So now that you know what the Necromorphs are, how they work, and what their endgame looks like, I think we can all agree on one thing. This is going to be very bad. But let's not just say Necromorphs win, roll credits. Let's actually walk through how this nightmare unfolds. Because it doesn't start with a galaxy-wide panic. It starts small, quiet, bureaucratical. Somewhere in the endless churn of the Milky Way, the Brethren Moon drift through the void until they detect something familiar. A signal. A galaxy glowing with life. War, hatred, And of course, corpses. A galaxy that has attracted predators before. So in preparation, they do what they have always done. They throw out black markers. Some are destroyed, some never land, but one does. And it lands on a hive world, which is quite possibly the single worst place in the Imperium for this to happen. Hive worlds are indeed fortresses. They are layered, defended, monitored to hell and back. But they also have one thing that the Necromorphs absolutely adore. Bodies. Millions of them. Billions if you're counting the lower levels. This marker doesn't even bother with the first signal. No civilization building this time. Humanity is already spacefaring, already desperate, already broken. So it skips straight to the second signal. Madness. At first, it's nothing dramatic. A few outer hive districts go quiet. Some workers just snap. A few cult incidences. Missing persons. Which, on a hive world, we just call that a Tuesday. And then strange noises start coming from the underhive. But the underhive is always full of mutants, gangs, and things with way too many limbs. The Administratum doesn't really care. The Arbites just don't care. A few more missing bodies. No one bothers to notice. Until a couple days pass. When the Necromorphs finally hit critical mass. And here's the problem. The Necromorphs, well, they don't exactly take weeks to spread. They don't take days. They take seconds. Millions are driven mad. Riots turn into massacres. Massacres turn into biomass. The hive world deploys its defenders. And by sheer bad luck, a detachment of Ultramarines happens to be present. And to be clear, one-on-one, a Necromorph is no match for a bloody Space Marine. But this is not one-on-one, this is millions. Tunnels, vents, elevator shafts, darkness, screaming. Even the Astartes get dragged down when the bodies don't stop coming. The entire squad is wiped out. The population is processed. And from the fused corpse mass of an entire hive world, a brethren moon is born. And that's when the galaxy starts to bloody notice. More markers are developed, more worlds fall, brethren moons stop being rare events and start being weapons. The Eldar, well, they see it coming, which only helps them a little. Craft worlds aren't driven mad by the signal too much, but they are eaten when the moons arrive in person. Survivors flee even deeper into hiding. Now the Drakari have an even worse fate. One of their raiders capture a black marker and drag it back to Comora, thinking it's a novelty. This is a mistake. Comora becomes a screaming infestation breeding ground of flesh and madness, more than it already was. They thought Slaanesh was the greatest problem. Turns out, it was their arrogance. The orcs instantly have a brilliant time, fighting things that keep getting back up. Lovely. Then the first spore patches fall. Then the first wah becomes biomass. Then it's just slaughter, with the Brethren Moons churning out orc-flavored necromorphs by the billions. The Imperium fights. God, does it fight. But, unfortunately, they're fighting far too many fronts, losing planets faster than they can respond, drowning in their own bodies. The Tal, well, they're just instantly wiped out. The Leagues of Votann hold on a little bit longer, the stubborn bastards that they are, but madness and attrition gets them in the end. Space Marines know no fear, but even they can be overwhelmed. Custodes last longer still, but when one finally falls, a Custodes Necromorph is an absolute bloody nightmare. The galaxy is now starting to collapse. Then we get to Chaos, and funnily enough, this is where things get a little bit weird. The Brethren Moon don't understand the warp. Not at first, but they do start to adapt. Demons can still be killed, consumed, and studied. Nurgle's plagues don't work on things that aren't actually alive. His gardens are eventually overrun. Slaanesh cannot seduce a wall of screaming meat, though she does try. She is then consumed. Khorne rages endlessly, but rage still produces bodies. Tzeentch, on the other hand, even the Brethren Moon don't like Tzeentch, but they do manage to outlast him. The warp entities scatter, they retreat, they hide in the deepest, darkest currents they can find. Then the Tyranids arrive, and for a while it's a proper fight, biomass versus biomass. But the Brethren Moons have a foothold now, and they're pushing the Hive fleets back. The Necrons finally realize that this may be a problem. Unfortunately, as per usual, it's far too late. They're still too fractured, there's still too much infighting, they're too divided. And for every Brethren Moon they manage to destroy, 2 more are born somewhere else. Eventually, the Imperium falls, the Emperor is silenced, and the Astronomicon goes dark in a sea of bodies and corpses. And at this point, it's over. The Necromorphs don't need to rush though. They are patient, ancient, and eternal. Give it 10,000 years. Hell, give it 1,000,000. Eventually, the 40k galaxy is consumed. Not with a bang, but with an endless, screaming convergence of flesh. So there ya have it, lads. The Necromorphs win, and honestly, that was kind of inevitable. These things can infect a population in seconds, corrupt minds without ever firing a shot, and reanimate any dead flesh they can get their hands on. Doesn't matter how long it's been dead, doesn't matter how badly mangled it is. If there's biomass left, the marker can use it. And even if it can't, it's most likely still fed into the machine. Simply put, in my humble, sleep-deprived opinion, the Necromorphs are the most dangerous zombies ever created. 1,000 of them was enough to give Isaac Clarke trouble, and that man is an absolute industrial-grade lunatic. Which actually brings me neatly into this. The reason I haven't gone deep into Dead Space lore, or Isaac himself, in this video anyway, is because he's getting his own. That's right, lads! This is getting a conclusion, regardless of how this video performs, because I love Dead Space, and I love Isaac Clarke, and he deserves his own spotlight. Now, if you've enjoyed this marker-induced descent into madness, then remember to smash that like button like it's the last working light on the Ishimura. Subscribe to the channel and help me push towards 1,000 subscribers, because when we hit it, something very special will happen. I don't know what yet. It could be a celebration, it could be a mental breakdown, possibly both. But until then, lads, remember, sleep is for the weak, the warp is for the insomniac, and the markers love you. Have a killing day, you bloody legends, and I will see you in my next one.